I understand that the PNP, out of desperation, wants to see the back of the most impactful and, dare I say, positively consequential Prime Minister that Jamaica has.
Regarding what has been said in the IC report concerning the Prime Minister and what it is that you're anticipating now that the report is out.
Well, let me start.
Please remain standing for the national anthem.
Jamaica land, we
Hello, JPU family. Welcome to another late night episode. If it's your first time on this platform, welcome. Please subscribe if you haven't. And if you're a returning member, please welcome back and thank you for joining again. So tonight, guys, I have some information for you, and I want to talk to you about the developments today. What dominated the news today, and I want to talk to you about some serious matters as well. I'm going to be joined here tonight by two of the ladies who were here with us last time with our late night program, Miss Karen and Jamaica 411. You guys have been very, excited, I guess, to have heard all three of us together on the same platform. So it is only right to bring them back. They're going to talk tonight about the situation happening, about, the political hostility and other things. But before we go there, I want to first tell you about some credible information that I received about that bomb threat thing last night that the police put out a statement about. I want to talk to you about how the international community has responded and is responding. But first, let me just say hi to everybody in the chat. And I'm going to ask you to just hit the like button when you come in and share the live. Welcome back, moderator. Thank you for being here. All our friends who are here diligently and religiously, you are appreciated. Your presence is acknowledged, and I thank you for joining. I want to also talk to you about that press conference today, which, guys, why am I telling you? Telling you, the situation I get bad, So, I was reliably informed that the bomb threat situation that the police announced yesterday, and then the propaganda that started to take flight but was promptly shut down by the security forces about the raid and things like that. When a prime minister or a president in a country gets any kind of threat, it is a cause for concern, and serious cause for concern. But where there is a bomb threat, and in a small country like Jamaica is a popular country, right? You have embassies who are reaching out to their people in Jamaica, asking what the hell is going on, asking and talking about whether they should bring their people home. Not just last night, but from what I'm learning, eyes have been on the political hostility that is brewing in Jamaica and that is being perpetuated and coming from the opposition. This is what I warned about in 2021, and I wrote to the US Embassy about the hostility that I saw in the PNP. I knew that those people who demonstrate that kind of hostility. You give them any kind of power beyond, what they had at the time, it would get even more ugly. Because why? Common sense dictates that they're trying to gain state power. So it is going to be more hostile. And I cannot believe that we're seeing it now. But the international community is very concerned. And it's not just America. But they have eyes on this thing here. They're watching it very closely. And maybe now people understand why Andrew Holness is taking the high road, not going down in the gutter, becoming unhinged, acting inappropriately. Maybe that's why he's using the intellectual approach and staying above the fray. We've been here before, but it's been a very long time. It doesn't look good. Well, as I told you guys in the title, there's a lawsuit coming. A lot of things is being said, even before the report came out. I'm surprised that the Prime Minister waited this long, but according to the news media, the Prime Minister has instructed his lawyers to take legal action against PNP members for defamation. We know that when the vloggers and the bloggers are talking, we know the ones who are aligned to the PNP, the ones who are being paid by the PNP. And we know that the disinformation that they're coming out here with, 9 out of 10 times, it's information they're being instructed to disseminate by the PNP. I'm not asking anybody about that. I know one vlogger out here on YouTube who received $500,000 during the local government election. That is not a question. That is not false. That is fact. 500 measly Jamaican dollars. But you have to do what you have to do. The press conference that them come do today. What a sad situation. I want to play this recording from Juliet Holness. Right now, as far as I know, the entire government caucus is standing with the Prime Minister. And I want to let you hear what Juliet Cuthbert, Member of Parliament, had to say. Here goes.
I understand that the PNP, out of desperation, wants to see the back of the most impactful and, dare I say, positively consequential Prime Minister that Jamaica has seen in recent times. This is a Prime Minister who has skillfully led our country through multiple crises and have not been implicated in unbecoming or any unlawful conduct. I also expect some PNP-affiliated groups, which position themselves as civil society, to shortly echo the same call of the PNP. However, I believe this position taken by the PNP is baseless and without merit. It is important to also note that unlike some individuals in the PNP, the Prime Minister does not hide his assets in trust funds. The Integrity Commission report, which extensively examined the financial affairs of the Prime Minister, does not involve public funds, pales in comparison to the Office of the Contractor General investigation into the alleged Daring Bunting and Golden Sweetheart deal. The investigation found that Peter Bunting and Mark Golden's company arrived at a deal with the then PNP administration, and this involved public funds, which was conducted via an irregular and highly improper process. The fact of the matter is, due to the findings of the OCG probe, which is on the record of the Parliament, it is Peter Bunting and Mark Golding who should immediately step down.
Guys, look here, this is not going to end well, because clearly the government, the Prime Minister, they're not just going to give up power and lay down and die like what Mark Golding said. Labour right now, give up this so easy. Nah, give up this so easy. The duly elected Prime Minister of Jamaica, duly elected. We are a democracy. So he is not just going to give up this easy and walk away. He's going to allow the electorate to decide his fate. So what next is the PNP going to do? This is the question, because the situation is getting more and more hostile, more and more unscrupulous. This idea, and then I'm going to let in Karen, because Karen is in the studio. Guys, please like the live and give it a share for me. Thank you. This idea that the Prime Minister must resign. Remember, the Integrity Commission say them cannot, them don't have no evidence of any illicit enrichment, because the other issue that they raise with the prosecutor about the accounts, the one that the Prime Minister had with his father, or his father had with him, and the one with his mother, where his mother had with him, and stuff like that, with the little bit of money in there. So now, prosecutor said there's nothing to charge for. There's nothing to pursue. And now with the illicit enrichment, the Integrity Commission said they have no evidence of that. They have no evidence of it. So why is the PNP calling for the Prime Minister to resign? I don't understand. I don't understand. I've never seen a more desperate situation. Never. Let me let in Karen here, so. Karen, good night.
Good night, my darling. Good night, JPU family. Everybody can hear me clearly?
Yes, you sound so much better. There's a little fan in the background I'm hearing, but you sound good.
Yeah, but my heart. I have to have my fan around my heart.
Lord Jesus.
My heart. Things hot. It has been a hot day.
Lord have mercy. I forgot to throw
So
some
what's
ice
up?
water upon you then.
Boy, when this done, we just go to the back, turn on the hose, and wet up myself.
Boy, may I tell you. So, Karen, chime in here so now. The international community, as I was telling the viewers, that there's heightened
Hello?
concern. Can you hear?
Yes, I'm hearing you now.
Okay. There is heightened concern based on some intelligence that I received today, that the international community has some concern about this bomb threat to the Prime Minister, what them hear about, and then the political hostility that is becoming more and more evident. They are watching and they are concerned about it, right? As we all should be, as I am. I'm sure you are too. So, what is this argument, and what do you have to say about the Prime Minister being told to step down in this press conference by Dayton Campbell, KD Knight, who they look like hostage, Mark Golding, and Dana Scott?
Yeah, that look like the Taliban, them have him. They look
Lord,
like the Taliban, them just cope and yard, see, but so come sit down here.
most time about that, me currently it just come on big time. You come like Liz. Oh God, man.
With him
Canadian,
hands
oh
folded and
God.
him look a little bit nicer. The big strapped in man look very dwarfish and little bit. And Dana Scott, she who used to be a good looking woman. I don't even know what to make of these people. Hanging out with people that ugly and them heart dirty. You're bound to look ugly. You know?
My
It is quite
gosh.
I watch a pedo him. Watch him. No
Him look
about
like
a jacket or clothes. Can't make him look proper.
he look he look like I'm about to take the crocus bag and put over KD head.
Yes. And around him mouth white and white. Like him.
No, sir.
Hey. People
Where
are,
make up the resignation? The resignation that they're threatening about.
say, me not entertain idle conversation. Workers, they not gonna resign from something because nobody can force the prime minister to resign from anything. But I want to say something about the last thing that you just said about the international community being concerned.
Yes.
There are grave concerns about what my sources said to me today is that the concern is not about the prime minister's statutory declaration. The concerns are about how it appears that the opposition is behaving like thugs, like them want to plunge the country into some kind of civil unrest.
Oh, so
Those are
yeah,
the
I hear
words that
about it
was
too.
used. That was the word. Those are the words that was used to me. Civil unrest. It appears, and it has not gone unnoticed to many around the world that the PNP has been doing this for months, maybe over a year, trying to
Mm-hmm.
drum up civil unrest. And my sources said to me, and I'm just going to repeat what he said to me. Is it that they're not afford to wait for an election, or is it that they aren't able to win an election unless there is some kind of civil unrest? That is all it was
Mm-hmm.
put to me. So there is that. There's a concern about that, and I think that's what the international community is concerned more about. The international community is not at all interested in Andrew Holness' statutory declaration, which my other person said to me, there's nothing there. They said they have not found anything. But the thing that he brought to my attention that I never looked at, thank God he brought it to my attention, is that this guy named Stevenson, the one that does the investigation, right?
I think that's
Stevenson
his
is right. After
Kevin
what
Stevens.
my
Yeah.
uh, yeah.
high 411.
Now,
Welcome.
what one, Michelle? It appears to me that Mr. Stevenson vexed with Andrew Holness for something. I hear that him hit the JLP with a poison. People wondered how he even got onto the committee. This evening, me and Michelle was joking that maybe him have a thing for Mrs. Holness and Andrew take away Juliet from him and him carry some kind of grievance for
Eh.
Andrew Holness. Something go on with him. Something go on with him because of all the things that he has done in that report. I'm going to hold my tongue a little bit and give Michelle a chance because if we start
Mm-mm.
Hello,
411.
Jonathan.
Good evening. Come in with the
Good evening,
Michelle,
analysis.
everybody. Hello,
Yes.
GPU family.
why is this
I'm
thing
not
keep
finished
going
reading
out
the
and coming
report
in?
yet.
What me do?
I reached page 71 out of 100, 73 out of 171. But
So tell us what you read so far.
well, um, hmm, I am looking into Imperium. That's where I read. And I can tell you that Imperium is, all right, you remember that company called AdMat? That's the one that him set up in St. Lucia in honor of his sons, Adam and Matthew.
Mm-hmm.
And he and the two boys were in that company, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, the St. Lucians, Zara Burton said that the St. Lucian government, because of pressures from the international community, is a tax haven. And people don't like that. That
Mm-hmm.
them citizens can go somewhere and don't pay tax. and enjoy the benefits of the country while living there. So she said that them changed, they were pressured into changing their laws, and they are now insisting by law that if you're operating offshore, you have to be doing business. You have to be doing business. So because what the offshore people were doing was setting up shell companies that was just there to hide the assets. So Andrew decided that he's going to set up three companies, and Zara reported on it, the three of them. Set up the three companies here. And one of them called Imperium. That is the company now that all of his assets are in, understand, even in paycheck.
Mm-hmm.
Well, not understand. He did say so, that even his salary got through it. Now, I don't know why I've never set up a
Yes,
trust fund.
yes.
Maybe it's too cumbersome, and he prefer to set up a
Mm-hmm.
company. And I do believe,
Yeah.
but I'll research it, and I should have it for everybody tomorrow. I was to put out a video today, too late. I do believe that companies may not pay, I don't think they pay transfer tax. So when they're doing certain transaction, you pay stamp duty, but you don't pay transfer tax. And maybe that is the reason why, and well, not maybe, that is the reason why a lot of these knobs set up companies to own, especially real estate assets. And so he set up, so what he did, he closed ADMAT and then set up Imperium. And Imperium is supposed to be the same as ADMAT, right? So he transferred all of the assets, including the house in Beverly Hills and the land in Beverly Hills. I think it's in that same, I think it's same Imperium, and they transferred them over. What he did now, he started Imperium with 54 million. And the director of investigation is asking him what's the source of that money, and him show the source. He actually had some shares, so it's not really cash. It's only 23 million in cash. And in my video that I did when I did a complete analysis of the integrity reports that were certified, I did point out that he had 35 million that year to spend, what he had in the account and what he got in his pay and his earnings. So it's only 23 million in cash. The other 100 and something million actually was shares that he already had, plus eventually got some kind of loan. They call it margin loan. I was looking up the meaning. And that was what comprised the amount of money that he had, which was 126 million in all. Then, he took out that, leave only a few 100,000 to go buy shares. That's what he does. He's been trading shares, just like Mark. Very few properties, but he do a lot of shares, purchase shares and so on. And so that's it. So far, he has accounted for the money. Now they want to know now where the money come from to invest in that. And then they found out now that the Bank of Nova Scotia had accounts in Bank of Nova Scotia. So he made up the money and bought the shares. So that is where I am.
Okay.
So far, the money that was used to set up Imperium is legit so far.
So, what you make of the resignation request? Do you think it's appropriate or do you think it's premature? What do you think?
Well, from morning we've been asking people what are they asking him to resign for? What them saying must resign for? Well, I
So
hear
what?
Mark saying that he bring the office into disrepute. In what way? What them saying?
So
I,
what
I
are
haven't
you?
listened to
Mark,
them.
Mark wants him to resign because Mark. Hold on, Michelle. Mark wants him to resign because Mark figured that he will become prime minister. You mean you don't know why I want him to resign for? He wants to become prime minister.
No,
Me,
no.
Mark Jefferson Golding, prime minister of Jamaica.
Papa Naris friend them. No, but if they're saying, what are they saying that he
Yes.
did that he has resigned for? Him saying bring the office into disrepute. What it was that made him come in and listen to the press conference all night. I've been trying to read this report because that is important.
But everybody asking us about the press conference. It's as if nobody listened to it.
Not a soul. Now watch it. I can't find a soul.
I don't like
And
when the
then the
ball
one person, the one
Nobody
person
know
we
what
get
the press because
information
everybody
from.
text me about the yeah. I mean nobody else seem to listen to everybody ask me, Karen, you watch the press conference? Me said, no, did you? Tell me what go on. No, me never watch it. Nobody
All
gonna
right.
watch it.
Karen and 411 and subscribers and viewers. Them say, not them. I want to make a comment. Please mute your mic if you're not speaking 411. Or Karen. So one I want to have a noise in on the background. Me hear Donna Scott say she want the Prime Minister to resign because he misled the country. How he misled the country? She said that when asked about investigation, he denied that he knew of anyone or who was under investigation. No, we all know this is not rocket science. We all know that when any investigative body, whether it be the IC, whether it be the FBI, whether it be the whatever, MOCA, when you are under investigation, they're not going to come knock on your door and say, hey, you are under investigation, unless I don't know. They would be stupid for doing that. If you tell people when you're investigating, then they're gonna do everything for hide and you understand, tamper with evidence and ray. You do your investigation first and gather your evidence and so forth, right? The Prime Minister was going through the process of being certified. The IC asked him and requested certain information, and he gave it to them. So it's not a matter of say him know him did under investigation, at least not in my view. And then, according to Section 53 of the Integrity Act, you don't supposed to be out there talking about an ongoing investigation. According to the Integrity Commission, you can get in trouble for that. You're supposed to speak after it's tabled in the parliament. So when Donna Scott I come out and say the Prime Minister mislead and ray. The Integrity Commission, they tell the Prime Minister, say them a call people from overseas to come in, come look into things. Of
I
course you can tell him that.
I
Of course.
remember the conversation with that journalist, and
Mm.
I think he was not prepared, and I don't know how with Mark going around the place talking about him talk to film people, how him could possibly not be prepared to answer the question because all he had to do or what he ought to have done is evade the question, right? Just avoid the question by saying something appropriate. You know, I can't discuss it, so on and so forth, and or what have you, right? Let Mark King go run up and down and chat where him want chat and just avoid the question. Instead, him said that him don't know, him search, him heard. Well, she asked if of, ask him if he knows of any of his ministers, I think it was. I think it's ministers, if they were being investigated. Him say him ask. Him ask far and wide and him don't know of any.
Well,
So
for one, and maybe he did, and maybe they said no because, like I said, and you probably know this too. The Integrity Commission is not always gonna go to people and tell them say them under investigation, and also they
well,
work.
well, no. As a
Did
matter
Mark
of fact,
hold on there? Did Mark Golding know say
But I think
the five PMP them under
I think that
investigation?
in one instance he referred. I think that in one instance he referred they needed.
yeah,
Yeah,
they told him earlier, and he would have known. But you see, he can't tell anybody because if he had told anybody, first thing, if he had told anybody, yes, he's on the investigation. First of all, this is something I would have started long time, and the Integrity Commission cannot come out and defend him. And it was an investigation. You follow? And still then come out and found none. So they would have come 2 years later to come say them not find nothing. And then what would have been in of his reputation? The man couldn't tell them no anything. He couldn't tell them anything. So I don't know why she talking about misleading. That is just grasping at straw. What the man supposed to do? Tell him say I'm on the investigation.
But I think at
Him did,
one
him
point
did
he
the
said
right
that.
thing. Him shouldn't, eh?
I think at one point somebody had asked him something and he said his lawyers had given them everything that they asked for. I
Oh
don't
yeah, about
remember
him
quite
integrity.
correctly, but I think he
Yes.
said something like that. But in any case, you're both correct. Him couldn't answer. I hear the little floozy one she representing the Trevor Monroe little mashup organization called the NIA. Them them only them only come out to speak on integrity and national issues when there is some drama. It's as if they exist just for the drama, calling themselves what I'm calling themselves National Integrity Action Committee or something like that. Something like that. It's
Mm-hmm.
as if
So,
eh,
also.
it's it's a commercial organization, maybe about two people. Maybe it's just she and Trevor Manuel alone tonight and him probably feeble now, so she out. And I hear her there, somebody sent me this clip where she on with Diane Jackson Miller, the woman who loves to represent racists and pedophile and speak and do on behalf of those people. It is very demeaning of me to sit down and talk about these people. Trust me, but I have to repeat what they said. And I hear she talking about reading from the same thing that everybody's talking about in terms of him saying that he was not under investigation. And I looked at her and I'm going to do some investigation and find out if she went to the ghetto and called University of the West Indies. Because it's only people who go to that ghetto come out and say them have an education, come out and say that foolishness. Don't tell me that she don't know that the Prime Minister could not have answered a question like that to say, yes, I am under investigation. That could have been viewed as one of two ways or two ways. That could have been that would have sent the public in a certainly in a furor had he said yes outright. Yes, I am on investigation. Let us assume that he knew. His responsibility as prime minister goes far above dealing with impersonal issues. These are personal problems. These are not problems that affect the Jamaican people day to day existence. So, and he said yes. Try and imagine what kind of uproar that would have turned the country in. That's the first thing.
And
Also, for the Integrity Commission, you would have had people chasing
No,
them down, questioning
but
them.
I'm going to the second. I'm going to the second thing. The integrity. You said earlier that the integrity commission requires that if them not informing anybody, say them under investigation. Anytime you inform you that you're under investigation, and they will ask you for things privately, and you supply the things privately, and whatever conversations you have with them would have been private conversation as well. But most importantly, had he responded or come out and said to the country, I have been investigated by the Integrity Commission investigators as corrupting the system, as corrupting the system by coming to announce to the country that he's under investigation as if he's trying to rally the country or rallying his people to start beat up the Integrity Commission. That could be seen
Exactly.
as interference.
Exactly.
That could
So,
be seen as so. No matter what any of them say, no matter what Dana Scott is a learned lawyer. Since she hanging out with she has become something entirely different. I don't recognize these people anymore. Mute your mic, Michelle, because the traffic.
I
I
did.
don't recognize these people anymore. So I don't know what kind of nonsense that Dana Scott come up with, and it's absolute nonsense. Absolute nonsense. And the girl from the mashup organization that Trevor Monroe formed, where she the only member there now, because I'm sure them have no more member. And she coming up questioning the man about whether whether he should have been frank with the country. What exactly does she mean by that? He should have said to the country that, yeah, I'm being investigated and set the labor rights on the IC. And then the IC that come out and say the Prime Minister is irresponsible for making that kind of announcement. It is interfering with our
That's
investigation. He
current.
couldn't do
Current.
that. So the
Simply
Prime
put,
Minister was
that's
right.
just inappropriate. That is just inappropriate. That's why
Yes,
when
it
Goal
is
in them
absolutely inappropriate.
that's why when Goal in them and Data and them were running up and down about it, the IC should have invoked their act. And get them to comply. And that's why I asked why they don't do it. And clearly, let me ask you ladies something. Now that we see that the PNP has campaigned on this thing about illicit and illicit, somebody in that integrity commissioner leak information to them, Let me just tell you, that is clear as day to me,
That's about somebody. More than one somebody. It's not leak
Eh.
information. Don't say leak like somebody under the table or pass something give them. They have been briefing Mark Golin. Is Mark Golin he is the chief architect of the legislation to set up the integrity commission. They have been briefing him the things that Mark Golin and Dayton Campbell have said for the last year and a half is not leak information, is briefing.
Yes,
They
them
have
get the
been
briefing.
briefed and them find ways and means to leak it out in pieces so it will sound like they are being briefed, but they have been briefed. Them give them it.
And them shamelessly come out and compromise the IC as if that is doing them any good. What them do I hurt the IC,
No, it's the IC compromise themselves. Not
sorry,
is the
say Liz
IC
never
compromise
over here.
themselves.
Liz cost. Liz are the only somebody we still take up for them. When they see me run out, I say, look here, man, when you compromise, the thing they wanna do. So now
No,
that
man,
we
yeah.
see the report,
The
we
IC.
know.
Yeah.
We know for sure now.
Yeah.
What a
Yeah.
shame, man.
They have been briefing Mark Golin. That is what the country should concentrate on. How for the last year plus, maybe a year and a half, how come Mark Golin and Dayton Campbell have so much information about the IC's investigation of the Prime Minister, that they have been given this information to go out in the public sphere and gin up the public, talking about it consistently, preparing the public for what turned out to be. Yes,
Finish your thought. Finish your thought.
Preparing the public, ginning up the public in the hopes that it will be a big bombshell that will drop and it will give them the opportunity to face an election right now. Only that all the briefing they were getting was from the point of view of the people who are doing the investigation. Let me just make something clear. Because you see, this country and the news media and the apologists them for Mark Golin and the people them who have beef with Andrew Holness and them seeking to see if them can get into Mark Golin good grace to help him become Prime Minister, they are the most destructive force to Jamaica. Them. It is them. Because listen to me, this guy Kevin Stevenson, him is the main linchpin in all of this. If you read what this guy writes, let me give you an example. Michelle can tell you what he writes, but here's what I get from it. He would write that he wrote that the Prime Minister declared $20 last year. And then this year, the Prime Minister declared $21. And him state it as fact because it is a fact. That is what he's supposed to be reporting. Him bringing 20 this year, last year bringing 21 this year. And then this damn idiot, you know what he do? Then him start right. We want to know why. Why 21 this year? That is why I'm writing the report, you know, Natalie. Viewers and subscribers of JPU. That is how he wrote it. Why? We want to know why. Imagine, you know, he has the facts. He lays out the facts. And then he proceed to muddy the water by inserting his own feeling. It's basically him saying that I was looking for some straw man and some dopey. I never see the straw man and the dopey, even though the straw man and the dopey not there. We want to know why. That is what this guy writes.
Are you serious? I saw them operate. No, sir. Karen.
That the report, Michelle. Listen, man. He states the facts. Then he starts to elaborate and guesstimate about the facts. And in so doing, him dropping his own personal opinion, which is done in a way to suggest that the Prime Minister is hiding something. So after he outlined the facts, which is what they are supposed to do, this is what we have. In bringing $10 last year, in bringing $20 this year, we want to know how him get the next $10. Is them investigate, you know? Them don't find nothing untoward about the additional $10, you know? Him not say him have $20 this year and $10 last year, and the $10 came from this. Them not have nothing to say that, you know. Him outline the facts. Him have $10 last year, now him have $20. Our one, and then him proceed to start guesstimate and elaborate and pile on all kind of things to make people start think that there is something. In other words, in creating the straw man to say yes, the $10 there and the $20 there, and we investigate exhaustively, investigated the $20, and there is nothing untoward about the $20. But here's what me think. Me thinks that something is something. Me thinks that there's a hole. Me thinks that him not have the facts, you know. But this is what he writes. The guy Stevenson. So need to protest against this IC commission. And have the government general to remove it. This guy Stevenson, not to mention the Beresford him, who had suggested in 2014 that Portia Simpson, Miller, and the entire PNP cabinet at the time should have been investigated and prosecuted.
So
Did you know that?
I saw them investigate and then try people in the public.
Well, let us get back to the point.
Hold on, Michelle. Hold on, Michelle. Hold on. Stevenson, in his assessment, when not the facts, you know, him write the facts, and then he uses incendiary speculations that there are no evidence to suggest that the additional $10 are thieving. No evidence. But he wants us all to know. That although he didn't find any evidence to suggest that him thief the next $10, him sure a thief $10. But him not have the evidence, and him put it in the report. Say have the evidence, but him sure say thief it. Let me tell you, man, the Jamaican people need to protest this.
How will them get
why, Michelle? Because I'm getting
back to the
that's
point
what he
where,
writes in the report.
It's almost redundant now, but back to the point when you were talking about when they were running around the country talking about this and talking about what is in the report. They got the information from out of the Integrity Commission. What was fascinating is
you
that
agree with that
justice,
too? You agree with that to say out of the IC them get the information? Come,
of course, but Mark, when the observer suggested that it's 5 PNP and 3 labor rights, Mark said, I'm on some other set of people them there, but and them I investigate. So how him know that? So then getting information, what is fascinating for nearly 2 years, or for 2 years, they're up and down the country talking about illicit six, and Justice Panther never once come out and tell them don't do it. But as soon as the media start to bust out the information, they might tell them about law. How was going to prosecute them anyway? Now, the point that Karen is making, there's an example where I'm talk about, remember now we know, what triggered off all of this was what they called unexplained increases in his net worth. Apart from the 4 accounts that he left off 3 before, and then they were like dormant accounts. So then couldn't do anything about that. After he submitted his amended return to include those accounts, he's supposed to lock them off, and they never lock them off, so he still have to declare them. Then went on, they don't know them find but the 4, but them find the 4. And then decide now, say, all right, then I give him a chance with that one day. Then them decide to look and them see what is known as unexplained increases, right? So him say in 1 year, I think it's 2021, he had unexplained increases of $67 million over the year before. And there was also an unexplained decrease in the same um, year of 512,000 US, giving a net um, unexplained decrease of his assets. But when he was writing in the report, he said that there was no increase. They said that he had an unexplained increase in his Jamaican dollar assets, but there was no increase in the US dollar asset. No, there was a decrease in the US dollar asset. He didn't mention it. That's how he was reporting. And then he failed to acknowledge that there is an unexplained decrease in his assets for 2021. And since you have increase in 2 years and decrease in 2 years, then if the man a thief another something, should be seen increase all the while. So I'm ignore that point. Raise the point that the fact that there were two increases in I think 2020 and 2022. 2022, I think, something like that, right? And you had decreases in 2 years. This is after the minus, what he the increase in his assets, right? He have assets in Jamaican dollars, assets in US dollars. 1 year, it was mostly Jamaican dollars. The following year, it went and increased the US dollar. And you can clearly see that a sizable amount of money came from out of his bank account. And you see that US increase. Or you see money come out of the bank accounts, and then you see the securities increase. Because if you take the money out, he must be buying assets. What he could be doing with it? You follow me? And this guy actually ignored the fact that while the Jamaican dollar increase, which he call unexplained increase, he ignored the fact that the US dollar increased. When I saw it, the first thing came to my mind was that the man sold the US dollars and convert the money into Jamaican. So if Jamaican side would increase and the US dollar side decrease, right? And he get $10 million more on the exchange. Because if you calculate the foreign exchange rate would have been 150. 150 times 500,000 is how much? Now 75 million that.
About that, yes.
Then that. And it was 67 million them same had his assets increased by. That was what it was. And you think him an idiot and don't say that and don't know that?
But can you imagine the Prime Minister of the land for 8 years only have 1 million US dollar in a bank account? That's disgraceful.
Hey, me I say, what kind of little bit of money that?
That is absolutely disgraceful.
But about 10% of it, about 10% of the money that he has, is no man. Hold on there, because if you convert the is 150. Wait, how much is 1 million?
1
about
million,
300 million. Yes,
What about
150 million
$10,000?
Jamaican that. And
Yeah,
bear in
but-
mind, it's not cash. I want the audience to understand that what we are talking about here is not cash. The cash is a very small amount. These are mainly the house we have up at Beverly Hills, another piece of land we have at Beverly Hills for
Yes.
15 million, and stocks and shares and loans and borrow money to buy it. So I'm making money, and borrow the
No,
money.
more on pause a little bit. No, seriously. Yes.
All right, we're going to give you an example, audience.
Look for Mark on the picture, man.
Then
So hold on
he
there.
bought.
411. How much money you think him have offshore? Gold in. How much million US gold in has offshore?
I don't know.
Nobody can find Mark Golden money. And nobody now look for it because he's a white British man. And they all assume in the Integrity Commission, they all assume that every money we have him entitled to have it because him come from slave owning families and them thief their money long time and him white and him is British and every money we have is fee money, them no need to go look for it. But no, them have to go dig up look for Andrew 10 cent them because he's a black poor youth from Spanish Town. And Mark is a white British man who have all the slave owners' money in the world. And nobody now check out fee money. Because I'm entitled to have it. But Andrew shouldn't have none.
I must thief Andrew thief have that. That is for them opinion.
But Steve, that's
In
right.
2008,
That's
in
right. If Andrew
2000,
have any, it's thief it. But if Mark have it, him get it, him earn it. Him slave owning people, them dead left it give and him have a whole heap of England and a whole heap in Israel and a whole heap everywhere else. I wouldn't look for it because him
Look here now.
entitled to have
Look here
female.
now. I don't really like when time we talk about Mark Golding's offshore accounts and companies and only talk about what he inherited. Mark Golding has assets of his own that were not inherited that are hidden away offshore. So no give the people them the impression like say just inheritance him have offshore, you know.
No, that is not the impression we're giving them, Natalie. I am saying to you that this is how the IC looks at it. Why have they not investigated Mark Golding extensively? I am making the point that every cent that he has, they make an assumption about how he got all of that. So they're not digging and looking for his money. Them a dig and look for Andrew Holness money because he's not supposed to have none. He come from a poor black family out of Spanish Town. But Mark come from upper class, white slave owners, and him is British. So if any money him have, whether him thief it or not, him entitled to have it. I'm trying to make that point. Says a witch hunt after is a witch hunt on Andrew Holness. They have not gone this deep and exclusive into Mark Golding's financial dealings yet, which is high and mighty and many faceted. But
So
they're
look here.
interested in it.
How do you think the Prime Minister is handling the matter so far? Some people think say, boy, him not so aggressive as he should be in response to it, while other people are say, boy, him a angle it the right way. What do you think?
well, before we get to that, can I interject here with one example?
Sure.
Another example. All right, I wanted to listen to this now. He bought Government of Jamaica bond in 2008. That is when the Labour Party was in power. That must have been the bond that the man was querying. I think he must have been thinking that it was a conflict of interest. So he bought bonds for 100,000 US. It was a US bond, right?
Mm.
And it seemed as if it was a 2039. So it seems as if it matures in 2039 at 8%. I'm thinking, and I meant to ask and forgot, I'm thinking that that 8% is what he's supposed to get every year as interest from the government, right? You know, government money, sure. But that have to come out of the consolidated fund first.
Yeah.
That was in 2008. He sold those shares in 2021, September, for $143,000. That man made 40 odd percent on that investment and it's in US. That means it's not affected by what is happening to the Jamaican dollar. You follow what I'm saying?
So he's a wise investor. So he's a wise
Yeah.
investor.
I wouldn't take no share for no 8% because I wouldn't think so I go and get nothing
Okay.
off of that. He was getting 8,000 US dollars a year off of that that bond, I think. That is what he would be getting. So if he never spend the money, you can imagine how much money it accumulated. And he would have done that because that was in ADMAT. That is for him sons. That's why I'm going to look on it different from how me to look on it. I'm going to look on it as a long-term thing for him to benefit the children when they get older. Then him sold those and then him take that money now put it in Imperium. See, it's the same company, same money, and then him change it to US and start buy shares. Simple.
God.
And that share has increased and benefited him.
Yes, him sell them
As if
as
them
soon
saying
as
that the
the
prime
shares
minister
go
only
up.
invest. When sometimes he could have lost too. But this is how investment goes.
Yes.
As if him should
Ah.
invest. That's what the IC, Greg Christie and the Kevin Stevens like Mackie are feeling to Andrew Holness for something. Him is very
But
aggressive in all the things that he wrote in that report.
You forget your question where you asked Natalie.
And now them
You wanted to know. You wanted to know
now them trying
whether
to
we thought
blackmail
that.
the parliament about it.
Oh no, them send the information to the FID from the 19th of September. Hey, that is what I wanted to say. Them send the report to the FID asking them to investigate. Them send Barita to the FSC to be investigated for the transaction. Them send the report to the tax administration Jamaica for look into the tax. What the hell is going on? What concern is them supposed to be
And what
looking into
the
the
Rasta
parliament?
George do that? Listen, my man. This is a witch hunt against Andrew
Yeah,
Holness.
maybe the
You
money
know,
stock
listen to me.
exchange.
Who
What a
else have
concern
they
is that
ever
of
done
theirs?
that to?
No, I'm
Listen to
saying
me.
that if they look here, they did a report, right? And they table it in parliament. Them no need to do nothing. The tax administration, we're going to go read and say, oh, them owe with taxes. Another thing about the tax though, because the tax is also a sore point. I am told by a chartered accountant that when shares are paid, it's like when you have your money in the account in Jamaica, yeah, and I don't think it's the same in the United States. We don't pay taxes on capitals gain. So whatever that is, right? I think that is when you get a gain on whatever assets you have. We don't pay taxes on that. And when we have our money in the bank, we pay, and the interest is paid. There is such a thing as withholding tax. That is in lieu of me paying the tax. So once you pay
Yeah.
withholding tax, you don't have to declare it again to the taxman and pay any taxes. And that is the case with the shares. When the dividend is paid out, it is paid out minus the withholding tax. And who did set up that one? It was Omar, or was it? I think I did Omar, you know. You have
Yes,
the
it was.
withholding tax.
So hold on.
So all of that money
So
that he
them
received
sending
from
it to
the
the
stocks and bond. Hold on, Karen, let me finish. All of that money that he received from the stock, the dividend from the stocks and bonds, right? There is no taxes to be paid on it. And when him selling shares and he make a gain on it, I think that is what he mean by capital gain. Don't make any. I'm just putting this tentatively out. I don't think you pay share taxes on that, so I don't know what tax they're talking about.
They must say the
but
bank.
wouldn't they but Michelle, wouldn't
Mm?
they based on the salaries and so on, wouldn't the tax administration already have an in into his finances?
Yeah, because there's an auditor, you know. There is an
Yes,
auditor,
that's what I'm saying.
professional auditors that audit the accounts and make returns. I know him drop him one thing, and the auditor them do it,
Okay.
right? Now, Imperium is not a trading company. Imperium is a holding company that all their money pass through. So them already pay tax for them salary. It go into the account for Imperium, right? The only thing that we
And
need to
from
pay a
there and
property
from there him
tax.
can move and from there him can move it around to anything he wants to do.
Because it's him salary. No, the other
Yes,
trading
it's free
companies,
money. He can
no,
do
the
anything
other.
he
Look how
wants with it.
much, no, guys. Look how much money Mark Golding and Peter Bunting them move around and do all kind of sitting off offshore. Me not
Forget
understand why
about
they.
Peter Bunting, man. And Mark Golding we're talking about because of him I get the briefing from the IC. The
All right.
IC,
So
Stevenson and
them,
Greg Christie and all of them was briefing him.
you feel so Greg Christie them will really do that though? Lord
All of
Jesus.
them were briefing him. They have
And I think,
information that they should not have had. There needs to be an investigation into the IC. How did Mark Golding access all of this information that he was out there for a year plus, making all of this mischief, ginning up the
and them,
country?
and them, and them also need to investigate the IC to find out why it is that the commission has sat down and have them do it, even though they weren't saying that that is where the information coming from. Them can read between the line. How we can know so them are get inside information and them can come out. Them just come out and give a little warning. That's all them have to do.
Yeah. And why
But
Pamela
But
Monroe
no.
to
Ellis,
me,
why somebody like Pamela Monroe Ellis sits on that committee and watch all the information that Mark Golding has been talking about for the last year and a half, and nobody stop him, and them give the information for go make trouble in the country.
Yeah,
Is
but
them
who had
give
the
it?
say first? The
And
chairman,
that,
they
that
need to
Karen,
step out
Karen, I
for
was
the
No,
just
people.
she's
gonna
not the
say,
chairman.
wait enough,
Huh?
Karen, I was just gonna say, if the Integrity Commission, anybody who will leak out the information or give them the information, if they wanted that information to be private, they would have said to them, stop going out there and talking about it. They wanted them to go and tell the whole world, say,
They
Andrew,
wanted them to go and tell the country that the prime minister on an investigation. They want them give them some fictitious number.
they know the
6 of
same
them.
thing, they know the
Illicit
same thing
6.
ratted on them
Illicit
all.
8. Yeah.
Are the
Yeah.
same thing
They
all
gave
ratted
it to
on them
them.
attack. The whole of them, everything I reveal now,
Yeah. Yeah. They gave it
That's
to
why.
them. It was the IC who gave Mark Golden those information and he spread it among his social media people them for them go on them social media pages go chat crap.
They did not
Let me not
stop
hear
them.
them up. You know, hear in the height of this now, when somebody bring up this thing about how Juliet Holness get $800 million for buy what's your name?
Michelle, you
Melissa
really, really want.
property.
Oh, you love repeat foolishness. So, me not do that for you. I do not repeat foolishness. I do not repeat. We debunked that argument long time because Mrs. Holness does not own the cowlands. So that idiot, when them ever do them, that when charge we get 500,000 for do them blogging for them now. Him was going when doing is spinning all information. Him can't do there's more than spin all information that has absolutely no use to anybody. It's all information he can spin for earning 500,000. That's all him can do. Spin all information. There's no truth to it.
No,
As we
ladies,
have the information.
hold on a second. You guys did debunk that information, and
Yeah, we did.
yes, you guys did a good job. Make we
Yes,
switch
we did.
gears real quick to Dion Jackson Miller come out and run fear mouth. Remember, you saw long me I tell them say that woman is wicked. Look at now. She come out. Wait, no man. She show over here listening up. Dion come off of this. Not until after the election in America, you're too wicked. Um, She come out now and withdraw. She withdraw a statement, but I withdraw and Jesus. I withdraw and correct incorrect information on the Integrity Commission gag clause. I apologize for having misled you. You see, because them here say
She's
Andrew
so
was sue
dry.
them now. Two she hear about lawsuit now, she come out and withdraw. You saw them wicked and lie, man.
Yeah,
When I
man,
know
Mr.
she
Hollis to sue Mark Golden and Dayton Campbell and sue Gian Jackson Miller too. And if you not sue her for nothing, sue her because she represents pedophiles and rapists.
mm,
Ah, that mercy.
you know,
Yeah,
you
sue
know
her
what's
just
in
for
me?
that.
When I know she, at them over blunderbuss at talk about Mark Gold win election, but we're gonna call it now. We're gonna call it now. And I
Who
laugh.
that? Who that?
Blunderbuss.
Who is that?
Not the one Cliff will call election but Mark Gold win and say him sorry. Them should do
It was
better,
a mistake
man.
on Cliff part. I am not beating up Cliff. Diane Jackson Miller, you know we have it in for she, and we not let it go. And she
She
need
have
for
to go
with
down, man.
her short frock, them and her tough foot, them a show up. She and her lean face, me, I am about lean like old people shoes. We don't have nothing with she. Nothing. In a she. And tough like them
Yeah.
turbit. You
We
know?
know the
Not nothing with she.
Out of order, but she
Then
come out shack up.
all of
Shack
them,
up. Every time she shack up
people
Cliff
like
and
Diane
in.
Jackson Miller and them, they have lined up to get Mark Golding elected because them think them going to get some big job. God help on us as long as Karen Cecilia Cross is alive. Should the Jamaican people elect that fool? On the don't bother thing says easy road for Uno.
Oh Jesus. Maybe that's why the
you
risers
mean if the
them.
Jamaican people fool enough to go
The,
elect them?
maybe
Yeah, if the
that's why
Jamaican
the
people if
risers
the
them.
Jamaican voters are stupid enough to go elect them. The all of them lining up behind Mark Golding, every single one of them. You know why? Them know that him is an idiot. They know that him can't run nothing, so the whole of them are lined up to run him.
What a sad situation.
Now you asked earlier if we think that the Prime Minister's handling of the matter by silence is It's good and bad. Now here's my analysis.
Not really silence, you know. I think he's very meticulous and very diplomatic about how
Andrew
he's.
Holness, Andrew Holness area of study is political science. And political science, contrary to popular belief, is not about rare and nice making and call election now or KD trying to replay him in 2010 master stroke, pack your bags and go. KD don't know, so when you're a comedian you have to come up with new material every day. You have to come up with new material every day. Pack your bags and go and work again. So Andrew Holness handling of the situation, I think, is a very, very good thing. First, he never said anything throughout the entire time that he has been under investigation. And when Mark Golding and him pedophile out there chatting up crap about him, he never once answered them. And every time he has something to say about the matter, he goes to the nation's parliament. And he say to the Jamaican people can see them prime minister talking to them from his perch. So that's the first thing that knocks them completely cool. Them can't get him to drag him in at the he say, she say, and then the media reported Mark Golding say, Andrew Holness say, and then Mark Golding say again, and then Andrew Holness come back again. He has masterfully left them out there, them alone, making all the noise that them want to make about all the things that them want to talk about. And he has stayed quiet. Notice something, you know. Andrew Holness politically have been quiet from the local government elections. He went on and he gave some interviews after the elections, and he spoke to Cliff, and he spoke to the newspaper, I believe, and he spoke to a couple of people, and from he made those statements. Basically, him just being prime minister. That's all. While Mark Golding going on, I behave like a dirty boy, jungle come from, you know. Jungle, you know, yeah, me, Jamaican people are going to really elect me, Mark Jefferson Golding, and me, I'm a top of Norris friend then. Look at him at the head table with side eye. Look at him side eye.
Oh,
Look at him
God.
side eye. Looking all cheeky. And so Andrew Holness have been extremely, you're right, meticulous and precise. And I believe that is also driving them crazy. I mean, if I was them, it would be driving me crazy. That you alone for the last year and a half run up your mouth about all kinds of things, and the man at which all of this is directed at, not answering you, don't have a thing to say to you. So that tells me that any day Andrew Holness answer this, them are going to run and hide.
Stick up
But I'm
in.
glad him suing them. I'm glad him suing them for sue Mark Golding, him for sue Dayton Campbell, and everybody else will call up him name. Angela Brownberg, for our broom, him for sue them people there.
Listen,
All of them.
the only person I don't hear coming out about resignation, a bounty. Now what go on?
Well, I believe, you know, I wanted to say something else, which I said on my video earlier, but before I answer Bunting. Andrew Holness learns from Siaga, and I remember Andrew Holness giving a speech, and he said that he learned from the best, and he referred to Mr. Siaga, and he said he taught him also to do some things in reverse. Remember when Siaga used to answer everything Michael said and PJ said and PJ answer him and all of that? Andrew not doing that, and that is what he was talking about when he said that very said person tell him that the only change that he needs to make is do everything in reverse in terms of this kind of political mud coming at you, you know, and that's basically what I think Andrew Holness. So Andrew Holness is playing it very smart. Make Mark Golding stay out there and twisting in the wind and calling for resignation and calling for elections and looking stupid every day, and the media them will buffer him up and help him call for election because them need the news. Them need the news. Mark Golding, him call for elections today. We're about to call for it again tomorrow, and the next day after that, because pretty soon it's not news anymore that I'm calling for an election. Because the truth of the matter is, they are unable to sustain whatever momentum that they had ginned up when they started with this thing about the illicit 6 and the illicit 8, and it garnered attention and they ginned it up and it took them into the local government elections, which they lost, and then turned up a little notch and start calling it the illicit 8. And no, and then them start to talk about the prime minister's return cannot be certified, but they lie to the country consistently. They mislead the country consistently, what Mark Golding does. All this time that he has been talking about the fact that the prime minister's returns can't be certified, he never once told the country, I want to talk about it, you know. Nobody else was talking about it. Nobody from the GLP was saying anything about anybody's returns being certified. He was the only one talking about it. So therefore, this falls on him. At no time during the time that I'm talking about the lack of certification of the Prime Minister's statutory declarations, he never said to the country, 82 out of the 84 members of parliament and senators' declarations have not been certified either. Is the IC that put out that report that came in their report the other day? 82. There are 84 members in the Senate and the Parliament together, and 82 of them, their declarations have not been certified. And Mark Golding have been talking about illicit 6 and illicit 8 and the Prime Minister, and never once did he do reference to the fact that he's concerned about the fact that there are 82 lawmakers whose statutory declarations have not been certified, hiding and lying to the country and deceiving like he always do.
No, sir. Somebody talking in the comments say them never see a prime minister get treated like this. Me don't know what I have to say about that, but me not really against a prime minister coming on that investigation and scrutiny. You know, me feel say if investigation for do it, because we the people want to know, say, I know crooked people, the people are electing. So me not really have no problem with that. But just the fact alone, just the mere fact, Karen and 411, that these people who are supposed to be acting non-partisan, they're leaking out information you one side. See them sitting here foolishness. They not no credibility. Then credibility gone.
I am going to be looking into the Integrity Commission. It actually says, how the commissioners can be removed. I'm going to look into it and bring it maybe on the next one.
Maybe another Governor General. No, I don't.
Yeah, I think it's. I think I can't. I don't want to say it because sometimes you read something and you might mix up with something else. But I think that somebody wrote. I don't know if it's the Prime Minister who, or anybody can write to the Governor General and ask them to investigate. What they would do, then have to have a tribunal. I don't know when their thing's supposed to expire to, it's 7 years. We need to start to write to the Governor General because them started 2017, 2018. So some of them supposed to be expiring 2025. The executive director came on a bit late, so film won't probably expire later, and so on. And I don't know when. I don't think Canberra for a while they never had some personnel, so they couldn't do any work. So I have to go check into that. And if you renew them, man, and we definitely need the laws to be changed to remove the judges. Not judge, anyway, them put the judge, the judge is not your problem, Them cannot control anything. Yes, them can't control. You see, the problem with the IC is the lack of the ability to control what is happening in the IC. And this is a problem with the IC is not the only place they have the judges, Anywhere them put them is a problem. Them just not equipped and capable of handling this type of thing. Right? Then put them in all the commission of inquiry and sure, never got to talk about them sitting there. But them need to take the auditor general needs to be removed from that board. She is the one who should be auditing them. And I wonder if I might go and put it in that as she's supposed to sit down on the board. I would I do that, you know.
But I want to ask you a question.
Stupid.
If them are let out information that is supposed to be confidential during the process, how are they? Who's gonna draw them up? Like who do they answer to?
That's the point, the parliament. But here's the thing. Here's the thing. The Auditor General under the Constitution, she is the one who's supposed to be auditing the ministries, the public bodies, and the parish council and all them things. A fair job that, you know. And this is a statutory, I think it's a statutory body, right? I don't know if it's a statutory or a creature of parliament, or the law create the Integrity Commission. So this body is supposed to be audited by her, I should think. Why it is that they put she on the board? How can she audit herself? And that is where the mistake is. So who is auditing them? Because they're doing foolishness. The law says that they must examine all of the what you call it? All of the statutory declarations that come before them. They must examine them and pass them in the same year. And them only pass must about what? 1200 or 1700 from the time them existing now because them doing auditing, right? And had she been the one outside doing the the parliamentarians could call her and she going to go investigate and find out what is the problem. Look here, the tax office is the same issue. GCT, NIS, all of them. They have tens of thousands of accounts of people that they are dealing with. They cannot check the information for everybody to make sure so you're sending in the right amount of money. So you know what you do? Them tell you how much you pay it, and they might do a cursory check to make sure the information right, and then they stamp it. And at some later date, them audit you. Right? Any money you carry, go give the tax office and say that you earned for the year, then take it, then stamp the form, so you make an annual return, and that's it. Nobody now come audit you. If they were to do like what the Integrity Commission is doing, they would never collect taxes. The same thing with the GCT, the same thing with income tax. And it's because you have these dumb judges that don't know nothing on the Integrity Commission. I cheer it. When I hear Seymour Panton say that him find it hard to just go and certify these declarations without doing a thorough check, then find it hard to do that. That's what the problem is. So clearly it's being told.
So why them not making no noise about them 82?
And when the other people them report are coming, you don't know?
I don't have a
What do you know?
You asked her
You don't
about Bunting. We asked about Bunting again, Natalie.
Eh?
We asked about Bunting.
Me say, oh, him not out there. I drum up the thing about resign. He would have normally be the first one.
I can't speak for Bunting, but I think that Bunting is staying in the background because them go bring in Vibes Cartel and it's Dayton and Angela. And as far as I hear, that I hear that Mark never really have nothing to do with it at Dayton and Angela, but Mark go with anything Angela tell him. Remember, Angela tell him what color underwear we put on a morning time. Angela for call him and ask him if he bathe and wash him hair. Angela for remind him, a morning time, Angela for remind him, oh, you're going to Parliament today, you know, so you better bathe and wash the beard so you don't feel frozen. Angela for deal with him, so it's Angela and Dayton. So it's Angela and Dayton line up the whole Vibes Cartel thing because them have to win by any means necessary. Angela and Dayton know that if the PNP lose, a few them are going to be grass. So two of them working overtime to try to find any and everything that they can to gin up the thing, to say that we're ready.
Then she walk Bunting wicked though.
No, I don't even show up Bunting. I think Bunting vex about the move. I think Bunting, because you can say anything you want about Bunting, you know. But him they take this law thing serious.
Mm-mm. But Bunting call PG. When him hear say cartel a come, Bunting call PG and a ball a say, look what them a do. Them a bring cartel come at the
It
conference.
hurt him. I know it hurt him.
Him,
But
boy, me
him
a
not going to
tell
say
you.
nothing. It not him not going to say nothing. Him can't say nothing. Him have to jam and stay in the background and make Dayton Campbell and Angela Bromberg go and do what they do with Mark and Vibes Cartel and whatever. And him stay there and suck it up. Because he
Why him
wants to
sit
be
down and take
MP again.
a big disrespect that, you know?
Yeah,
What
but he
about
wants to
him
be
200? What
MP
about him
again.
650 million? What about him 650 million? You
What
know want
That's
that
what he
about
again?
want to hear when he invest.
And that in spend how more get it back if you not get government.
Yeah,
oh,
man, but
gee.
get going, you can't get at them with 650 million, Michelle. 1.3 billion. They
How about
have
that?
spent a total of $1.3 billion to gain control of the PNP, keep control of the PNP, run by
Wow.
elections, run all kind of interference to get people into seats. I mean, the man must get back their money. Them not
So
gonna just
hold
give up
on
so
Mm-hmm.
there.
just.
Them
With
not no money, you
interest.
know. Me see now one report where them do them say them have a hard time getting donation and money because of the division in the party and nobody now because remember them come say them have money, you know, so nobody now go give them the money, you know.
Recently, recently them
I
said
think we
that?
should take I think we should take those reports with a grain of salt.
The annual report that they do about the status of the
Yeah, but is
party.
that recent? Is that the most recent one?
Me don't know if I the most recent, me never look on the date.
Oh.
But them that say them not get no donation because them not talk say because them come beat them chest say them have money, you know, them a say because the appearance the
Leader
appearance
with
of the
money.
party is not united. Me say but here yeah. Then want 'em to the money where them say them have and where them promise. Them if you have money if
Mm.
you run the thing, man, if you run off the thing and that them say you have to have
Yeah, but
money.
Tapanaris now do not until look like them can win. That's why them have to
Them
come out to
them
them
in
the
a them
doctor.
in a
Poll.
them in a hurry. Them probably worried to the fact that them don't know if them can sustain this for another year. Because election
Financially.
not due until next
That cost them
September.
money. That cost them
So
money.
so I
Hmm?
think that Andrew Willis is going to wear them down.
Them a try overthrow the man. Me never see this yet. In a civilized. No, sir, they don't want to buy
But
the ballot.
that's about what you mean. What happened to you, Natalie? How them gain power to the PNP? They couldn't
Overthrow.
face a proper process to get elected to the PNP. It was done with overthrowing and sabotaging and calling for Peter Phillips to leave and going out with all kind of excitement and going for news and talk about Peter Phillips can win and the young people them not will vote for him and talking about he has served this time and time passed for him. That's how they got control. So
And
they
lose
figured
their
that if
seat
it
to
worked for
spite.
them then, if it worked for them then, after spending a year plus talking about the Prime Minister's declaration and how much it will bring him down an election of a call and all the rest of it, it's the same playbook. It is the same playbook. And them recruit KD as a voice of reasoning and what and they always tell the Jamaican people like them are idiot. KD used to be a man of great stature in the
Yes.
country. He still does have some level of stature, but each time he appear with Mark Golding and repeat that foolishness about Andrew Holness must pack his bag and go. You can even hardly hear him say it this time because it is not a powerful statement anymore.
But him get
But him does
frustrated
get
when
the
they and
offer.
talk the truth. Him get
Huh?
frustrated when they answer. Him get frustrated when him say nothing now work for Mark. Him say what? PNP sabotage PNP and therefore
Yes, man.
saboteur them not have nowhere going. And that him
Yeah,
basically
yeah,
saying,
yeah. Kid is a guy who will tell you as it is.
yes.
But him also loving party.
Oh
And
God.
and if them ask him to do something to come appear with them, if it's even to look like a Taliban hostage, then he would. But Because I am sure, I just said, Dayton probably the bag at the ground, so over throw over KD. And Angela,
And
Angela,
take the picture.
and side chick Nick in front already to take the picture for say, okay, KD family. We have him.
Oh God.
The thing
What's
is that we
up?
have him. We
No,
have him.
man, see. Yeah, the
But
gun
no, but fun and
sacrifice.
joke aside, KD is an upstanding man. But if his party and his party leader ask him to do something, if he can't have anything to lose in that when he no minister or no senator and he not really want nothing matter making money already. But when you reach this age and the politics is still hot and people still actually need you, it's a good thing for you who don't feel needed most of the time because you serve your time already. It's a psychological thing, not taking anything from KD, but this is a state of play. When you reach a certain age and the politics are going at and you don't really have much use in the whole thing. Whatever use that you can serve, you will gladly jump to that. And so KD just come sit down with him leader to give them some level of credibility and stature. And if you move, if you have some kind of fancy thing, and you just move KD picture there, so push Dana Scott to the side and just left the two. I left the, I left the next two of them there.
And put cartel between them.
And put cartel where KD is, move Dana Scott and put Angela. And we're good to go.
Oh, Jesus have mercy, no, sir. Boy, what a sad situation.
It is. It
Mm-mm.
is.
What is
It is.
next? What is next?
Now you tell us what is this?
Well, me just want the people in my Washington for go and look what go on no cause me feel say unrest a come. Me just feel say unrest a come because as me say and as you guys probably can see, the government and them not going to lay down and die. Them nah go give up. You might go and say that labor right. Nah give up this so easy. For
Yeah.
man, send me the clip where Mark Golding
Them,
say.
them now gonna give up this thing. We have to go. When say we have to
Yeah,
go.
wicked pan
We
them.
have to go get wicked pan them because them now gonna give up the thing. That's so easy. Them now
Yeah.
gonna give up the thing. My friend said to me, say this thing could be leading to. Is it that it could lead to a civil war or something? Some kind of civil unrest? Yeah.
Oh, Jesus. So because of
Yeah.
that, I am saying that the unscrupulous ones, Dayton Campbell and them people with them not have no boundary nor no critical thinking skills, nor just underdeveloped in the brain.
Mm,
They're gonna do
mm,
all manner of evil, and we don't know where this thing here gonna turn out to.
mm.
No,
Well,
seriously. Because they say
I don't
power by
believe that
enemy.
their final play, the only play them have is this. Them now have no more play. They have no more
Mm.
play. I eat this. I eat this. And Andrew always don't answer them yet. So I would say to everybody, put on your shoes and get yourself ready because this is about to get hotter. Because this is their final play. Them don't have no more moves. At least no more major moves. This is it. So unless them have some kind of a sex tape with Andrew naked, and we can see him clearly, say him. Unless them have that, them don't have nothing. Like this.
Mine know your talk because them will go find the tape and put Andrew head pan
Yeah,
Yeah,
we are talking
laugh.
about real. We are talking
Yeah,
about real
laugh.
tape, but we are talking about makeup thing. But
No,
we
we
know
know them
Angela and
still.
Dayton Campbell well prepared to do just about anything to see if them can get power. And if them fail at the IC thing, them have to come up with a new game, a new gambit. But we don't know what could be. We don't think that far yet. We have not sat down properly and worked it out what could be their other gambit because this one failing because Andrew Holness is not going to resign and he's certainly not going to call no election.
Mm-hmm.
So
Well, on the current, make people them hear what Mark Golding say.
yeah.
Your party needs you now. It's time to step up and get busy and get wicked on the next. You think this thing will come easy? You're fooling yourself. Nah, come easy, baby, right now. Give up this so easy. And the first thing, people them from injustice.
When you hear that, people, Lord Jesus, you know, say people take that literally. The risers them take that literally. I want the police them come talk and tell the country who did a plan for boom for Prime Minister yard. We need to know them information there, you know.
Yeah.
But the final thing I want to say before we leave now, in a video I uploaded today, I was saying to the PNP, be careful what you wish for, because if it is that Andrew Holness see the situation and get ugly and hostile, and him say, you know what? Me now go put my family through this no longer. Me go leave this and give them people here. If him decide to voluntarily step aside, not because the Integrity Commission say him guilty of anything, because they haven't, but if him decides if he does leave the thing and go on like Lisa and like Peter Phillips basically did, and the Labour right, them supposed to put in somebody like Kamina, give her a seat and say, go on, you're the leader now. Where them are going to do them time there?
That's a good
Because
question.
she's a new face, she's a fresh face, she speaks well, she articulate, she's well known to an extent. So she would have probably be, you know, a little more, what I call it now. I have to try to find the right word. Because the people them used to Andrew. So she's a new person coming in. I mean, know to God say Mark Gold in them can stand up to she in terms of being fit. You know what I mean? Being diplomatic, being experienced. So they must careful with them wish for them for glad say Andrew did it.
That's an interesting argument. What do you think about that, Michelle?
Interesting, interesting.
Mm. Well, I'll clock out you now. Thank you,
Yeah.
ladies, for stopping by.
No problem. Bye, GPU family. Bye, everybody.
Yeah, man.
Night,
We'll come
Same
night.
in.
day to you, family. Thank you for hosting us.
Yeah, man. Anytime.
I had a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun.
All right.
All right, darling. Cool.
Yeah, guys. Boy, may I tell you now. I hope that this does not get any worse, people. Because when you hear the recklessness what go on, and the rhetoric and the aggression, that's the right word, aggression toward this prime minister. Because they feel that it's time for him to go. They're not giving you any legitimate reason. They're not showing you any facts and any data why they feel he must go in terms of, you know, his performance as prime minister. But they're just telling you that he needs to go. And their idea is illicit enrichment. You're thief. You're this, you're that. Up to today, me ask one woman, we coming for me sitting, where the prime minister thief. Tell me one thing she cannot tell me. These people are a cult. Them behave like say them are gang leaders and gang members. I wouldn't want to say it get any worse than this, to be honest. I don't want to see nobody get hurt. I don't want to see the international community looking on Jamaica in this time, in this civilized time, and see our politics go back to any, negative history. We don't want to see that. We are civilized people. And we must always, if we feel that somebody is not performing, We must always use the ballot. We're not supposed to use no form of violence to take out nobody from out of office. What they are doing is a form of violence, political violence. This is ridiculous. If the FID investigate and do what they're going to do later on, and then come back and say, Andrew Holness thief something or corrupt something, then we cannot come out here and tell them, say, we support Andrew Holness. No. Because remember over here, nobody now push no $500,000 over here, so. And nobody will come over here, so. So we can talk straight and talk truth. As of right now, we have no evidence that he did anything wrong or that he behaved corrupt. And we can't put up with slackness neither. But in the meantime, Jamaica must not dwell on this. Let the people who are investigate do what they're supposed to do. Considering that the people over at FID are not like the IC who are leak out information for try and discredit, for try and smear, that is so wrong. And this is why it took me days, weeks to decide what position I want to take on the IC. Remember over here, we always defend them and say, make them do the job because them do the right thing. No, we sister them are leaker. We're done with them. Straight up. No apology. Them not no credibility. Me don't want to see no more report from them. Because them a leaker. And them a build conspiracy upon people for take down people. You can't do that. You're supposed to be non-partisan. And for we see them take that position there, we see them political. Everything can be political, just so you know. That is the problem. So me glad for hear credible source, the international community, regionally and outside of the region. They're watching this very closely. And rightfully so. We must all be watching it closely. Before I go, I wanted to show you guys this. Remember we that talk over here with you about the diagnostic machines and thing. Mrs. say one new CT scan machine was being installed at KPH. I love to see it. This is good. No delay. We want to see more machines are coming in. And we want to see the good news. We are not going to dwell upon this thing here. I never think I come back and talk about this again tomorrow. I waste of time. We don't see the culprit them already. We see say somebody, I never say the whole of them over IC and leak, because I don't know. But somebody over there, them leaking. You understand? And that is so wrong. And it is so sad that they have allowed themselves to be pulled down. The IC, they've lost credibility. Sadly. Dion Jackson Miller apologized for misleading her viewers. I think her blunder was in regard to the gag order. Some of them just love chatting, you know. Them not think before then talk. But Junior, you're not easy. Remember when I come out to second talk foolishness, you know? But thank you anyway. I understand where you're coming from. So guys, that is it for tonight. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure that you tap the like button before you go. And make sure that you are sharing this information with your family, your neighbor, and your friends. According to our analytics, majority of our viewers are in Jamaica. I'm happy for that. I'm happy to hear that. We want people to make informed decisions when they go to the polls. Not based on the propaganda and the paid operatives and them sitting there. And to be clear, YouTube does not pay our bills. You understand? So when you out here upon a money thing, you out here upon the truth. And that is important. Anyway, I'll catch you guys tomorrow. Thank you again for watching. Take care of yourselves.
Please remain standing for the national anthem.
Jah